So, hi, I'm Gustavo Pazmiño, a student from 2A of the class of Miss Gracia. I am with Dr. Eric Vandenbergen. He's my expert about the topic of agroecology and how agroecology could help in the development of Latin America. So first, what is agroecology? Agroecology is a way of production system that are good with the environment, that are that have all the benefits of environment, and that just benefits with the source, with the natural source. So first, Doc, my first question is, what means agroecology, but in scientific terms?
In scientific terms, it's a production system that is compatible and sustainable in the long run. Compatible with the environment, compatible with biodiversity.
And sustainable in the long term.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And if I talk about in a short term or
in the short term, it's good too, but most agricultural systems work in the short term. It's after 10 years when the soil is ruined or there's no more soil and you can't grow anything there anymore, then you realize, oops, they made a mistake. So what one has to do is take a long-term perspective from the start.
It's okay. So now when I'm making the investigation about the topic, I see that the origin of the agroecology is with peasants. So if you know, for peasants, what means agroecology? What are agroecology for them?
Well, that's an interesting question. Actually, yes, it did arise with peasants or small farmers because they live on the land. They spend their entire lives there. They have to take a long-term perspective. The big farms are after profit. Often the owner is somebody who lives in a big city who just looks at the dollar signs and doesn't care about the land. But if you live on the land, then you care and you want something that your children can also benefit from. So that's why the roots are with the small-scale producers who are not interested so much in the money. They still need to make a living, but they're not interested in getting rich.
It's true, because for me that I live in the city, it's like it doesn't matter what happened in the land or what happened in the rural zones.
Yeah, you're detached from it. That's like another world. You're not a part of it. But if you're living on the land, you're a part of it.
All change.
If it changes, you feel the change, and you realize when, what am I going to eat next year if the land is getting ruined?
Another question, Doc, is about your farm. What are the most interesting or weird experience that you have in your farm?
Interesting or weird experiences? Well, we didn't start the farm. The farm was already working as an agroecological system, and the previous owners had a policy of not cutting any trees ever. So I didn't feel like it evolved. What to me was the biggest surprise was the way that one could produce coffee without the use of any water in processing the beans. We just, instead of depulping the beans, we just dry them whole. And the coffee is actually better than what is commercially produced because you don't need to add sugar. It's already naturally sweet. So that was a surprise to me. I didn't know that.
The cost and the cost of that didn't are so much because you don't need the sugar.
Well, the sugar is the least of it. The big savings is in the water because normally you put the coffee in water for 24 hours, it ferments, and then you throw away the water. But that water has all the pulp, which starts rotting and smells really bad, and so you're polluting a lot of water. We use no water whatsoever in the process, so that's other places that process coffee, you can smell them from 500 meters away, they stink. Ours is clean.
Another question, Doc, is if I talk about the economic benefits of your farm, what are the economic benefits?
The main benefit that we found, and we've been doing the financial analyses on it, we don't make more money. We could make more money by intensive agriculture. But what is interesting is that for intensive agriculture to work, you have to have one crop that you treat everything the same way. Well, we have many different crops, but that means if we have a bad year for one crop, it works for others, so that we are less vulnerable to change. So our income is very steady, whereas other places like coffee farms that specialize only in coffee, the price goes up and down and up and down, and some years they make a lot of money, other years they lose money. We make the same amount every year.
Depends of the climate and all the.
Right, right. What's bad for one fruit is good for another.
Okay. Another question is, in what aspects you have to spend more money to keep economical well your farm?
What are the biggest expenses?
Yes.
Labor. Labor. Because we have one full-time worker, and usually what we pay him eats about 1/3 of the income we generate. So we could save that if we did the work ourselves, but in fact that is the biggest.
How much
expense.
workers you have?
Just one.
Just one.
It's a small farm.
Okay, so excluding the economic aspects, what are the disadvantages of an ecology farm if you compare with a traditional farm?
What are the
Disadvantages?
Disadvantages?
Yes.
Really, none.
No harm disadvantages.
No, there's nothing that I could point to and say we would do better if we switch to an alternative farming system.
So, it's good for the environment, always good for natural life.
Yeah.
Okay, so another question is, your products are produced in ecological terms. How do you do to give value added to them?
Oh, because it's organic, we can sell things at higher prices to consumers that are interested in healthy food. Okay. If you don't want lots of poisons and chemicals in your food, then you're willing to pay a little bit more. Here at Zamorano, the student fields where they're producing where they have their own gardens.
Yes.
How many times are those sprayed with chemicals before you harvest that food? once to twice per week they're sprayed. Okay? So they're saturated with all sorts of chemicals, growth hormones, pesticides, herbicides. The workers who do the spraying, they're wearing masks,
Yeah.
they're wearing full suits.
We wear that.
Okay, so you wear that. Can it be healthy to eat that food? It's not, I don't want to eat that when there's that much poison in it. So if I have a choice of buying food that I know is healthy and food that I know carries a lot of poison, I'm willing to pay more for the healthy ones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I go up to Higarito on Saturdays and I buy the eggs from the chickens that go out and eat insects and don't have any hormones, and those eggs are much healthier than what Zamorano sells. Zamorano sells them right now for 60 lempiras per cajilla. I'll pay 90 up there, but they're healthy. Okay, so our own products we also sell for more than the regular market rate. If the market rate for coffee is $150 per quintal, we sell ours for $300. Okay.
$300 per quintal.
Yeah. Actually, 500 by the time it's wholesale, by the time it's retail, because we don't sell it wholesale. We roast it and sell it in the bag. So it's $5 per pound in the bag. So that price is fixed. We sell it to the tourist operations, the eco lodges, and they like the product. They use that for advertising for their clients, so everybody's happy.
That's really interesting. Another question is that do your farm present plagues or phytological diseases?
Yes, every place will, but we don't do anything about it. Okay, so there's a roya in the coffee, so we don't get as much coffee as if we sprayed it, but what we get is healthy. And some of the fruit, like some of the mangoes, has worms. Okay, we take those and we feed them to the pigs. Okay, they still don't go to waste. We can't sell them directly, but we'll sell the pig. So it's still not wasted. So we don't try to control the plague. We try to diversify so that typically we don't really have bad problems with any kind of pest, because to get bad problems, that's when you have a monoculture where they can multiply a lot and where you don't have a natural population of insects